Welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us for our lightning talk. My name is Shayna. I'm a part of the Atlassian team, and I'm thrilled to be able to introduce Sherilyn Doctor, who's with us from QuickLogic. Fun fact about Sherilyn, she is a mother of twins, so she knows a lot about triage both in work and at home. So please give a warm welcome for Sherilyn for her talk.
Thank you. Let me get my... Hi, good morning. So when I started working in semiconductor production line, I worked with 100 single module machines that doing the same process at the time. After each process, we have 1 day or more days of wait before we go to the next process. It took us 5 to 6 weeks before we finish the whole cycle and we get our finished product. But today, semiconductor production line is automated from silicon wafers to finished product. Automation has been great, so it helped us to reduce the cycle time from months, weeks to less than 24 hours. Less than 24 hours compared to 5 to 6 weeks of wait time. That's great, right? So here's an example of production line. This is a modern production line. On your left is where we load our silicon wafers. It goes through each process from assembly, test, inspection, and finished goods. In less than 24 hours, you'll have your finished product. The next day, your products are ready for your customer. Then, of course, things fail. We are all human. We have emotion. We get stressed on overload of issues. We get tired. And how about the machines? The machines, they keep running all the time. Sometimes we have to change setup and parts may break. The materials. Our vendors and suppliers are trying their best to ship us a high-quality materials, but they're not always perfect. How about our methods, our procedures, our process controls? You'll never know that your process control is not solid, and a failure can escape. And on top of all this is the environment. If your production temperature is too low or too high, or you have a very bad humidity, it affects all the process, especially if your layout also is too tight or your stations are too far from each other. The processing is affected. In autonomous production line, a failure is very expensive. Sometimes we end up scrapping 1,000 or worse, million of units just because we have to skip one process that we thought it was not important, but it's actually needed. In a modern production line that can build thousands of units in an hour, if you have a process control and it cannot catch a problem, you may end up scrapping your whole lot or batch of lot, or worse, your inventory of your product. It will lead you to high scrap, more waste, and more additional costs, of course, for the company. So it is very important to make a right decision the first time, especially when you do triage. But it's not always smooth. And then when things fail, we engineers and managers come up together. We disposition quickly, and initially 90% of our disposition is containment. We stop the machine, we hold the good unit, we scrap the reject, and then we take all the documentations and dig into data. But we cannot take more time digging into data because the production needs to be running. You have efficiency to meet, and your boss are always also knocking on you. They want the production all green. That's how they are. So when those things happen, and then you have those issues, you start the bottom of the production line, or you ask the production to continue and move to another product. But we engineer, we still have to gather together. We still have an open issue, right? And then on the process of investigation, we do multiple experiments. We come up into conclusion. And then surprisingly, there are some people that may object. This process has been running for years, and how come we have to change this process just for this one-time event? And the debate starts. So when you have those list of issues, and then you have to pick which one is critical, which you have to prioritize, which you have to deprioritize. Sometimes what we do is we select the issue that we have to give first attention first, and then we give full attention on them. Then we have an experience that we had an issue that we give our full attention, and then we spend a lot of money for failure analysis, and then we work with different vendors on changing our production line and our materials and other stuff. But it's not actually needed. And then we deprioritize other issues, and we lost some customer opportunities. So accurately estimating the issues for triage is very essential. And due to those, we have learnings. So we have to put the meaning of prioritization, which one is critical, which we have to priority 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then which issues we have to ignore and let go. And then we also do a Jira workflow, which help our manufacturing in order to manage on how to manage our tickets. But as you can see, it still looks complicated. It's working. And then we have to hire, or you put that person to manage the whole triage and do all the planning and manage all the issues. But if that person has been working in your company or the other companies on the same thing for more than 10 years, of course, this will have time to sink in. So for me, triage should be making your life easier. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. So through the years, I have learned things, and I'll give you a few tips on how to deal with a lot of issues. First, record all your concerns. This is what Jira is awesome at. In my experience with Jira, I never had experience to reach a maximum limit of comments. I don't know if there is an IT here who knows that. But I work on Jira, and I have 100 or more comments, and it didn't reach any maximum limit. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. This slogan is a risky proposition. It is a good slogan. It means freedom. But it also means you go unrecorded. So who among you watched the movie Hangover? The first one. Okay. You remember that they do crazy things at night, and then in the morning when they woke up, there is a chicken that's going around the room showing you all the mess of the hotel room. And then when you open the bathroom, Mike Tyson Tiger is inside there. How did that happen? Nobody knows. They have hangover. So when you file an issue, when you have a ticket, make sure you put a lot of details on it. All your concerns, all the action items, everything that you talk in your meeting. This will help you later on. Don't file Jira and write comments for yourself so you don't forget. Normally, our reason, that's why we file Jira and doesn't copy everybody, is just to make it like our diary. Please, Jira is not your diary. Our reasons that you don't forget doesn't help other people, doesn't help you later on. For example, why? For example, you go on vacation, you chase your dream, you have a baby, and then you have those maternity or paternity leave. And then you don't want people to call you, just trying to recall what is that issue all about. You don't want also people asking your IT admin to give them an access to your account and just to see everything that you've written there. So don't file Jira tickets and write comments for yourself so you don't forget. It's not your bugs anyway. It's not your issues anyway. Look for support. So it's very nice to get a support from other people. It will help you to know more which issue you need to close, or you need to approve, or you need to put more attention to. One time, our CEO came to Triage, and his presence changes everything. First, before we cannot determine what the problem is all about, and then suddenly it's become a positive meeting. Everybody are more positive into accepting proposals. Everybody is also taking their action items and other stuff. And if you have that person that's been working for the industry for more than 50 years, so his expertise, his opinions, those have extra weight. So everything he advises, people listen to it. I'm glad Jira have a voting system and a watcher system. Voting system will help you which issue will you want it to get closed, or you want to know the people which issue they want to close. And also you want them which issues are they more interested in. Hopefully one day Jira will make you also, your comments, that the people can also vote on your comments. That, for example, you have a proposal and then you want to put it on the comment section. You will know if the people are agreeing with it by putting some likes on it, right? Study and understand the competing proposals and their trade-offs. So here is if you have other engineers that's working with you and they have proposals, each of them have a proposals or suggestion or a concern. It's very nice to weigh all of those things. It's nice also to be more articulate so the other people can get clear view. If you get stuck, then you can talk to them personally and get more of their inputs, and then you have to write it down in the comment section of Jira. This will help you guys to understand more about their proposal and to pick which proposal is best for that issue. You can also present it to your bosses, to your managers. This is what we do, and it works for us. Like, for example, we went to a meeting, we came out, there are a number of proposals, and one engineers want to try all of those proposals. So the other engineers that are trying to give the suggestions, so they listen to your proposals and one engineer tests all of those. You get it on the right on time, what are the results, and then you get the decision more effectively. Stay on top of things. Especially if you have a lot of issues and then most of your issues have a lot of comments. If you're staying on top of things, you will know what are those issues all about right away. When you go into a meeting and then you meet your co-workers, you don't want the 10 people is trying to figure out what this issue is all about, right? So at least if you know you are on top of your issues, then you can decide more clearly, you can give more direction to your group, and then you can triage better. Like, for example, here, we have 416 old comments. Who want to sift through those 416 old comments? Jira is so great in showing you the most recent comments, few of them, but it will help you more to know which one is more relevant, which one is more recent, and which one that you have to work on with your team. Like my kid. So I'm always telling my team that if you are a requester or your assignee, be more responsible on it. My daughter, she is very good in following up. So if I have a promise to her, which is sometimes I regret to give her a promise, so because she keeps on following up. Before we sleep, she's telling me, "Mommy, please give me your promise." And then in the morning when we're doing breakfast, "Mommy, you have a promise for today." Then when I'm preparing for my work, she still do a follow-up. Before I get into my car, she'd still tell me about my promise. And guess what? When I go home, when I open the door, she's right there, full of enthusiasm and anticipating that I bought the thing that I promised to her. So be like a kid, but don't act like a kid. Just be like a kid, do a follow-up, especially if you have those action items that are hanging around. It is very important to keep on following up. Summarize your opposing viewpoints well. So if you have other engineers or managers or other staff, especially in production, that they have their other inputs and their other views for some issues, you can summarize all of those and put them all together. I like to summarize things, especially if there are new or what do you mean like this? If you have the most recent comments that they give you, you can summarize all of those, put them all together, so that be more articulate, and then the people will get a clear view. Even if you spam or over-communicating with your coworkers that are copies into all of your edits, it's okay. So I've learned that if I keep on summarizing all the viewpoints, then it helps us to get more recent of what our decision is and what we have decided. Then fight hard. Fight hard if you have a proposal, if you have a concern, if you have your views, fight hard for it until they hear you. Fight hard, but in the end, remain friends. It is very important to be more professional while you're fighting hard, and also when an issue is filed against your work, don't take it personally. in working with the semiconductor, especially with some of the people that are not in technical team, they take it so personally when you file an issue against their work. So, but it helps us to communicate more better. So we talk to them, we sit down with them so that we let them get out of their box and to be more responsible on what they do. And this will also help, some disagreements. If we have disagreements, it is better to talk it out. At least our issues will be solved nicely. In summary, first, record all your concerns. Don't file Jira tickets just for yourself so you don't forget. Look for support, which I don't know why I missed it here. And study and understand the competing proposals and their trade-offs. Stay on top of things. Summarize the opposing viewpoints well. Fight hard, but in the end, remain friends. We engineers and managers, we keep working together to automate more and more tasks. Automation has been great to make our life easier and then to reduce the downtime and to make more work safer environment. But human decision won't go away soon. And triage will be still there for us to make more of our decision and to meet more with our issues that we have along in daily. So if you have problems and doing a triage and you have those issues, let's communicate. That's what our bosses say. And hopefully our meetings will be more fun, enjoyable, and intellectually stimulating as possible. Thank you very much.